All right, hi guys, this is Miss Vaughn for English 7. I just wanted to make a couple of small grammar videos just in case you guys are struggling at all with any of the assignments that you have for this week. So the first one is on recognizing compound subjects and verbs. So let me go ahead and share my screen with you guys. I've got the interactive teaching guides here. So as you can see, if you have your textbook open to page 52, this is your grammar and composition book. So unit 4, page 52, we first see that a compound subject consists of two or more subjects connected by and, or nor. These subjects are used with the same verb. So let's work through some examples. So in this case, we have, as always, find your verb first. So in this case, your verb is went. So then you can answer the question, who went? And you have Lexi and Kim. See, they're joined by the conjunction here, and. All right, another example. France and England are two countries in Europe. So again, we have a being verb. You have are, which is one of your linking verbs. So who or what are? France and England are. Of course, I underlined those up backwards. But you can see that you have a compound subject. Both of these countries are in Europe. Okay, so now we have an example with three subjects. So again, find your verb. Your verb is were. So again, a form of to be. And who were? John, Matthew, and Peter were some of the 12 disciples. Okay. All right, so the next point we want to go over really quick is a compound verb. So compound verb, as you can imagine, this is when you have a subject that is doing two different things. So a compound verb consists of two or more verbs connected by and, or, nor, or but. So these verbs are usually with the same subject. Are used with the same subject. They're always with the same subject. Okay, so many people ridiculed and persecuted Christians for their faith in Christ. So as always, we look for a verb first. Ridiculed is an action word, persecuted is an action word, and then you can go ahead and find your subject too. Make sure there's not a compound subject as well. But people both ridiculed and persecuted Christians. All right, think through the answer and show your work. So in this case, you have a declarative sentence. So you have an understood you as your subject. You think and show. I wonder if they'll show that. Yeah, they did throw that in there for us. So you have think and show as your verbs. Your subject is you. Okay, mom and dad swept and dusted the living room. So verbs first. We have our action word swept and dusted. Now, who swept and dusted? Both mom and dad. So in this case, you have a compound subject and a compound verb. Okay, I will very quickly go through the diagramming. I don't require diagramming, although we will be learning it once we're in class together. So I'm going to go back and do some of the things that we've worked on during quarantine. But when you're diagramming, it's a very similar process to when you're finding the different parts of your sentence. But whenever you diagram a sentence, always go ahead and double underline your verbs, find your verb, then find your subject, then draw your diagram, because you're going to draw the diagram differently dependent on whether you have compound or singular subjects and verbs. So once you find your verb, find your subject, draw your diagram, and then write your subjects and verbs on the diagram. So let's go ahead and find our verbs. Justice and judgment are the habitation of thy throne. So in this case, you have a singular verb, are, and then who or what are, justice and judgment are. So in this case, when we go to diagram, see if I can fit this all on one page here. Then you see that the diagram has given us two places for our subject and we only have one verb. So your verb is are. and your subject is justice and judgment. And don't forget, when you include those, that you always have to make sure you include your conjunction. So justice and judgment, and then you have your dividing line. So I think we call this the rocket ship. So you use a rocket ship for your subject because it's compound, dividing line, and then your verb goes afterwards. Okay, King Asa destroyed the idol and burnt it by the brook. So what are our action words here? Our verbs are destroyed and burnt. So keep in mind, if you take out the idol, you can say King Asa destroyed and burnt. So you know that those are your two verbs. Okay, and then your subject is King Asa. All right, so let's go ahead and get our diagram. See, in this case, we have the opposite. We have a singular subject and we have a compound verb. So you draw that with your, let me include both. All right. There we go. All right, and then you would put destroyed on the top and in the conjunction spot and burnt on the bottom. And there's your answer. Okay, let's do one more. Jonathan and David were friends and remained unquestionably loyal. So we have were friends and remained loyal. So who were friends and remained loyal? Jonathan and David. So in this case, we have a compound subject and a compound verb. Let's go ahead and get our diagram here. So you can see that you have the two rocket ships facing each other with the dividing line that needs to be between subjects and verbs right there in the middle. So let's go ahead and fill in our diagram, were and remained. And that's what your diagram looks like when you have compound subject and a compound verb. All right, so that is pretty much everything. At this point, you should go ahead and do the exercise A on page 52. And then I will also do an additional video for the written exercises that we have going on as well. Also, I'll do a small video for recognizing sentences and fragments. So y'all can have a little bit of support for that topic as well. All right, thanks guys.